Hey, here we are, day 3 at Rapid 2023 in Chicago. And we have with us the ever beautiful, inside and out, Miss Melanie Lang of Formalloy. Hi,
Thank you.
welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, and of course, I'm so excited Laura's joining us.
Hi, I'm here again. I'm so excited to be here with Melanie and Kimberly again today. Really excited to hear what you've got going on. You've already been telling us you've got so many new things to talk about. So yeah, let's kick things off.
Yes, so big week here for you and some of your activities. Above and beyond being brilliant in business, you also are doing some great things to lead the AM community. Talk to us, tell us about your announcement.
Sure. Well, there's a couple of things that
first one
that I have going on. So this week it was announced that I was selected to join the board of directors for AMT.
All right.
So I'm very excited to join that roster amongst some amazing colleagues.
And AMT stands for?
It is the Association of Manufacturing Technology.
There we go. And it's a long-standing organization focused on manufacturing.
Exactly. It's a very long-standing organization. They have an amazing history.
Yeah.
And I think I'm really excited to join the board because I can bring a somewhat new perspective to the board related to advanced manufacturing and additive manufacturing in particular. So I think it's really important that traditional manufacturing and additive manufacturing, sync up and link up whenever possible, because we're all just another tool in the toolbox to help with addressing our supply chain challenges of today.
Well, I know you've been very keen to talk about how you co-mingle those technologies to produce, the best type of parts and really try to push the boundaries of what's possible at Formalloy in that way. So I think you're going to help the old guard, as it were, at AMT really figure out how they can interface with their members to pull that AM technology and other emerging technologies forward into their membership. So we're excited for that because, we also, America Makes has a partnership with AMT on data. And it's not the kind of data that deals with the machines, which we're going to talk about next. It's the big picture data on the ecosystem and deployment of machines and the kind of sales things. So it's wonderful to have you both as an America Makes member and an AMT board member. That's really amazing. So
thank you.
Thank you for doing this for us.
Of course.
I think that's a really good point you just touched on then too, as we've talked a lot about today ourselves, the idea of taking additive manufacturing out of just the additive manufacturing world and getting in touch with those people that are not in our community and talking about how it is relevant within traditional technologies, traditional industries. How are you kind of finding those conversations? Are people getting additive manufacturing?
I think so. I think it's a learning process for everyone. And so I think it's important to kind of showcase in additive manufacturing. We've been able to go from using AM for prototyping and tooling to now where we actually have real world end use applications and production applications.
Yes.
And there's additive manufacturing parts flying and driving and, and a lot of things that we're seeing. So I think it will help the adoption across manufacturing and help manufacturers realize that if they have a challenge or if they want to do something they have not been able to do in the past, additive manufacturing may be an option for them.
So let's talk about the other side of data then, because I know you've got some interesting things to talk about, and we've had so many people on this desk this week talking about the importance of data, using that to push the industry forward, and you're really looking at that now and how that's going to accelerate the adoption of AM in end-use parts. So tell us about what you're doing with that at Formalloy.
Yeah, absolutely. So at Formalloy, we have a suite of software that we call DED Smart, or DED Smart, because that's our process. It's the directed energy deposition process. And we're able to record all of the machine and sensor data and then do a real-time analysis of that data, so that way when your build is complete, and I have a printout here to kind of show, you can export a build report that has a serial number on it and it has a summary of the build, so that way you know exactly how your part was made. If your part is consistent and repeatable from build to build, and it will tell you if you have any variation or any anomalies. So in the future, you can use a report like this for a digital build certification. And in the interim, you can use it at least to inform your testing plan. So it may be that right now you have to test, thousands of parts, or you have to CT scan, many parts. And in the future, we'd like to be able to use the data to say, we know exactly how this part was made, and we know that it results in a good build. So now we just have to look at keeping that build consistent. And if there is an anomaly in it, you may be able to just highlight and say, just this one area of this one piece needs to go through additional testing, but the other ones we can trust are good. So that's really what our focus has been, is on the ability to collect the data, export that data simply for our users, and put it into a digestible format so that way it's easy for a user to look at and find if there are anomalies.
Well, ultimately, I think it all comes down to being able to verify that the parts you just made are the right ones, and then start to just leverage this general knowledge and what the multitude of things that can go right and wrong in the AM process during the build.
Absolutely.
But really knowing what that looks like from a data perspective, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what Dead Smart is doing.
That's what Dead Smart is all about.
Yeah.
It's very important now, as we're using single materials to repair or build parts. We're kind of in a mode with AM where we're doing almost a part for part replacement, where we're trying to use the same or very similar material, and we're trying to build the same part. But in the future, I think there's new opportunities. If you look ahead, what in 10 years, what will AM look like? Yeah. There's a lot of opportunity to use multi-materials to enhance the performance of your parts. And so I brought an example of a rocket nozzle that is sitting here on the desk, where we've combined a copper alloy with a nickel super alloy, so you get the thermal benefits and the strength benefits. And we've put the material where you need it for the performance of that part. And I think that's something we can leverage in the future once we're able to show through data that you can get through qualification, based on the data.
Well, I think that's it, isn't it? It's really taking advantage of the things that you can only really do with additive manufacturing, whether it's in terms of the types of material combinations or design, but then it's getting all that infrastructure in place to really truly understand how it works. And like you say, find out where the fails are, where the achievements are too, because it's the only way we're ever going to push the industry forward, by really being accountable for what we're doing.
Yes. Well, I also understand that you have an announcement on wire and powder. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. So we have been at Form Alloy since 2016, delivering systems and providing services to build, enhance, and repair components with powder. And we have just released a capability for wire feedstock as well.
Yay!
And the benefit of that is that you can still leverage all of our in situ monitoring control, all of our data capture, all of the data analytics I talked about, with also a wire feedstock.
Are you finding by introducing wire feedstock that's making the transition for newcomers to additive manufacturing a little bit easier, because they understand that material, they can maybe use materials they're much more familiar with?
I think it's part of it, and some people, due to regulations or their particular location or their tolerance for risk, they powder is just kind of in the too hard pile.
Yeah, too scary.
And we had so many customers coming and asking us for wire, or saying, we're doing wire, we want to do wire, but we want all the control and all the data capture. And so we try to listen to what our customers tell us, and for us it was very simple to add a module to our machines that could do that.
Reducing failure modes, but also the mindset of failure modes.
Right, exactly.
And it's sometimes the mindset, just to get past it, is so important that as a small business, you got to figure that out, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
And speaking of change in mindset, what I really want to speak to you about is your involvement with Women in 3D Printing and organisations like this, because we've talked about this a lot ourselves today, just about getting new people into the industry, really changing the face of the industry. And tell us a little bit about what you're doing with the organisation.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So I'm an ambassador with Women in 3D Printing. Several years ago, I met Nora Torre, luckily at a Rapid event back in 2016. And I was wanting to just find some communities to join, because I was fairly new in the industry. I came from the aerospace and defense industry. And it was just what groups are available to join to kind of network and meet people. And so I was very lucky to meet her. There were not any chapters in my area, and I said, what if I start a meetup? And so she said, sure, you can become an ambassador and have your own chapter. And that's what I did, and it's been great, and we host a lot of events. So for anyone in the Southern California area, connect with me on LinkedIn, and we do very regular events and lunch and learns.
I want to personally thank you for being such an excellent ambassador and a person that really tries to support all people in their career non-traditional roles, in additive, things like marketing and sales as well as accounting, you're always pulling in, even non-technical people into your orbit and making them feel confident and comfortable to move on. So thank you for being that perfect ambassador for all of us and really bringing the community together. And that's what it's about. So, and I think this last year, this rapid year, I think we've seen so many wonderful changes in the industry. We were talking about that early, Laura and I, and I think the emergence of you as a leader is one of those wonderful changes that we've seen over the past few years. So keep it up. We're cheering for you, as many others are as well.
Thank you so much, and thanks to America Makes and you guys for talking to me today. And yeah, let's keep going and let's get this technology adopted for more end-use parts.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Next Melanie. Year, here it goes.